Okay, it is 7:01, so we will begin the meeting this evening for December 4th. Can I have roll call?
Commissioner Capriles, Commissioner Cranston,
Here.
Commissioner Haymeyer,
Here.
Commissioner Lowe,
Here.
Commissioner Yin,
And she is ill.
Vice Chair Cox,
Here.
Chair Baird.
Present.
Should I
And
call?
Commissioner Capriles has arrived, so you can mark her as
Commissioner
being
Capriles,
here.
hello.
Okay, thank you very much for reading the roll call. I'll give you a minute to sit down. So this evening, there are no minutes to approve, so we will move on to 4.0, which is oral communications from the public. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons wishing to address the commission on any matter not on the agenda. Speakers are allowed to speak on any topic for up to 3 minutes during this section. Is there anyone from the audience who would like to speak? Seeing none, we will now move on to item 5. Item 5.1 is a public hearing for consideration of a general plan amendment, zoning map amendment, planned unit development permit, development review permit, heritage tree removal permit, and tentative map to construct a 9-unit row house development at 851 and 853 Sierra Vista Avenue. Per the instructions from our legal counsel, we are now being asked, the commissioners are asked if we have met with the applicant or if we visited the job site. So can I see from left to right who has met?
I did not meet with the applicant, and I have not visited the site.
I have met with the applicant and visited the site.
I had a phone call with the applicant and I visited the site.
And I met with the applicant, and I've run by the site on a regular basis.
I met with the applicant and I did visit the site.
No and no.
Okay, great. So we now have a staff presentation from Diana Pancioli, and after that we will have EPC questions and public comment and then deliberation. And I think there's also a presentation from the applicant as well. So first we'll hear from staff. Thank you.
Thank you and good evening, Chair and members of the Commission. My name is Diana Pancioli, Senior Planner with the City's Planning Division, and I have with me tonight our Planning Manager, Stephanie Williams. The project in front of you tonight is a 9-unit row house development proposal at 851 and 853 Sierra Vista Avenue. The 0.56-acre project site is located onto the northeast corner of Sierra Vista Avenue and Colony Street, between Plymouth Street and Colony Street. The project site is surrounded with multifamily residential developments and single-family homes and a city park to the north at the intersection of Plymouth and Sierra Vista Avenue. The current project site is comprised of 3 parcels, which are split zone. The northern section of the project site is a zone multifamily residential, whereas the southern site is zoned general industrial. And the general plan land use designation of the northern portion is also medium intensity residential, and the southern portion is general industrial. The project site is currently developed with 3 single-family homes and a warehouse buildings, which will be demolished as part of this project. The project applicant is proposing to develop the site with 9 buildings, and there are 9 row house units. They're all ownership. And the project site will comprise of 2 common open spaces. The project is laid out along Sierra Vista Avenue and a private driveway, which provides access to all the 9 units. The project site has 2 common open spaces, which comprises around 2,900 square foot of open space. The units along Sierra Vista Avenue are attached units, and the units towards the rear of the property are detached units. The project is proposing a architectural style which is mix of craftsman elements with traditional architecture, using porches, balconies, and composite shingles, railings, porch columns. Units are differentiated through use of different exterior materials and massing. The site is laid out with visible front doors and substantial porches facing the street. In addition, the front doors and porches also face the common areas. The proposed architecture is compatible with the varied architectural styles that are found in the neighborhood. The project is proposing a general plan and zoning modification from general industrial to multifamily residential and medium-density residential general plan land use. Although this project is requiring the general plan and zoning modification, it did not go through gatekeeper authorization because the project is using the gatekeeper exemption under section 36.52.15 and 36.52.55 for special application requirements. The project site is less than 2 acres. It is owned by a single entity and is surrounded by similar residential uses, and hence they're getting this exemption. The project went through Development Review Committee twice, and in the August 2019 meeting, the DRC recommended approval with minor comments for the applicant to work with the staff. Since then, the applicant has revised the design to address those minor comments. The project also, an initial study was prepared for the project because this was a general plan and a zoning modification project. The initial study analysis has found that implementation of the mitigation measures, as mentioned in the staff report, and the standard conditions of approval of the project will reduce all the significant impact to less than significant levels. Therefore, a mitigated negative declaration is recommended for the project along with the mitigation monitoring plan. The project is not subject to city's community Stabilization and Fair Rent Act and Tenant Relocation Ordinance because all the three single-family homes on the site are on different parcels. Tonight, EPC is recommending this, reviewing this project, and staff is asking for a recommendation to the City Council, which will be reviewed by City Council in January 2020. The City Council will make a final determination on this project. In conclusion, staff recommends that the City Council, EPC recommend to the City Council to approve and adopt the initial study, the draft mitigated neg deck and mitigation monitoring plan, adopt a resolution recommending City Council to approve general plan amendment, the zoning map amendment, approval of the plan unit development permit, development review permit, and a heritage tree removal permit, and also approve the tentative map for 9 residential condominium units located at 851 and 8530 Sierra Vista. Alternatively, EPC can still consider some alternatives to send this back to staff for further review, but as a next step, the project will be reviewed by City Council in January 2020. This concludes staff presentation. We do have the applicant present in the audience tonight if you have any questions, and they do have a presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. May we see the presentation by the applicant, please?
All right. Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Maris Ahi. I am the architectural designer for the project as well as the representative for the applicant. I'd like to start off by thanking staff for their presentation and for their staff report. I will try to be very brief. So the project had an informal submittal in August of 2018. Since then, it has had 3 formal submittals and has met with the Design Review Commission twice. We've been very receptive towards comments and suggestions from staff and the DRC throughout this process. Just some background on the site. The site is adjacent to 2 large row house developments, single family residences, and Sierra Vista Park. The two northern parcels, which is 853 Sierra Vista A and B, are zoned R32 SD residential, and the southern parcel, which is 851 Sierra Vista, is zoned MM40 industrial. The parcel, which is industrial, is essentially an island surrounded by R32. So this project would actually finally allow the site to match with the surrounding parcels on the zoning map and the general plan. For this project, we had certain concepts that we really tried to follow. First, looking at where the project is in relation to the existing neighborhood. Second, making sure the site layout, open space, and architecture were all fully developed. And third, creating a project that would be the most successful for the community. So for the site layout, you can see from the site plan we have 2 attached units, 3 attached units, and 4 detached units. This was done to create variety within the project, but to also create a project that would not feel heavy or dense. The orientation of the units, which includes setbacks, shifting, and the driveway placement, were all heavily examined. And the goal was to create a project that would seamlessly fit into the site. The common open space for the project equals 2,900 square feet, which is more than 3 times the minimum requirement. The private open space for the project equals 1,718 square feet, which is almost 2 times the minimum requirement. This was done intentionally to create somewhat of a green ribbon that goes directly through and all around the project. Finally, with the architecture, we combined the traditional craftsman aesthetic, which is common in the area, and tried to mix modern architectural details and accents, which include colors and materials, fiber cement panels with vertical, horizontal, and shingle patterns, composition roofing, metal railing, and stone accents for the columns. An initial study was prepared for the project due to the general plan change. The analysis determined that the implementation of the 3 mitigated measures in the conditions of approval would reduce all impacts to the project. So in conclusion, the project provides an incredible opportunity to fully maximize the existing purpose of the site and to create additional housing that will benefit the community with no significant impact on the area. The project complies with every ordinance and guideline, but tries to go above and beyond certain requirements. The project is below the maximum and above the minimum for many categories, which include open space, height, setbacks, and spacing. Every single decision was carefully addressed and thought out to ensure the best possible project for the city of Mountain View. And thank you very much, and I'm available if you have any questions.
Thank you. So at this point, we will have questions from the commissioners, then public comment, and then our deliberation. So is there anyone on the commission who would like to ask a question? Vice Chair Cox.
Okay, just a small handful. The first one, so this is back to staff. Are there other projects that we have in the pipeline right now that take advantage of this specific gatekeeper exemption?
This is the only one.
Okay. And as I said before, I met with the applicant, so I'm just going to ask the applicant to have this on the record. I believe when we discussed this, you told me that the houses were solar ready. Can you talk a little bit about that feature?
Yes, so the plan is to have all 9 units have the hookup for solar panels and for electrical car charging units in the garage.
Okay.
That would be the plan.
And then, thank you, and then just one more question back to staff. What's the difference between R32 and R32 SD?
So R32 is basically a straightforward multifamily residential zoning district. When we add the SD, it is for special design considerations are given to those parcels which are zoned under SD. And it is our understanding that back in the day, because of the industrial zoning in the area, there were some special considerations which had to be implemented, which we wanted to protect in order to kind of comply with what kind of neighborhood transitions that we are creating. At this point of time, this particular parcel, which is the southernmost of the project site, is the only industrial island remaining in the area, surrounded by all multifamily residentials all around, and that's why we believe that transitioning from an SD condition to just a normal multifamily residential R3-2 is compliant and consistent with the surrounding neighborhoods.
So will the other designations for the ones that are marked SG change, or just this one will just be R32?
This is the only one remaining surrounding with an SD consideration.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Those are my questions.
Are there any other questions from commissioners? Commissioner Cranston.
So I was just a little, it seemed like an inconsistency, and maybe it's just the way the zoning is set up. There's a question for staff. On page 5 at the bottom of the staff report, it says that this area allows, or this project is effectively a 16 unit per acre, but that this zoning category allows from 13 to 25 dwelling units per acre. And in the table, it says that 9 is the maximum. So if it's only doing 16 units per acre as designed, but the zoning would allow 25, why is the maximum only 9? If that zoning allows, it seems like it should allow more units on the property.
It depends upon the total site area. So what we consider is that, it is per acre, so it kind of varies between that. So the 9 maximum is based on, 0.56 acre of the site area that we have. Based on that, the maximum allowed is only 9.
Wouldn't that, if it's roughly half an acre, wouldn't it be more like 12?
Yes.
Up to 12?
If it's more than that, yes. It will vary depending upon the site area. We'll have to do an exact calculation based on that.
Yeah, and R3 is a sliding scale based on lot size. There's different densities associated with different R3 designations, like there's R3-1, R3 1.5, R3-2, and so on and on.
So
And
the bigger, the bigger
and-
the R3, the denser it can be?
Right, and also something to keep in mind is general plan densities take into account all land area, including the public right-of-way, and are really historically meant to be a more higher level kind of planning area for services and infrastructure, rather than drilling down to individual properties, which is what the zoning actually does, is it implements the density within the general plan range, but for the specific property.
Okay. Thanks.
Commissioner Capriles?
No.
Oh, okay. And Commissioner Lowe.
I have a quick question to the staff. I've already asked this through email, but I just wanted to ask for the record. Do we have a policy to require developers to replace non-heritage trees when they're removed?
So the city code does not require any special replanting requirement for removal of non-heritage trees. It is a standard practice to encourage the applicant to replace those trees as well, but it is not required by the code.
A question for the applicant. And it could be just the drawing. When I drove by the site, I noticed along Sierra Vista, there's a light pole right outside of one of the units. And would that be underground after you redo the sidewalk, or would it still be there?
The sidewalk on Sierra Vista would be remove and replace. So if it is in that area and it is going to be affected by that remove and replace, then we probably would have to look and see if there's another option for undergrounding. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not fully sure about how close it is once we remove and replace that new sidewalk, but we can look into that.
Because that will give the trees a lot more space to grow too.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Okay.
Yeah.
So to clarify, you're not talking about a street light pole, you're talking about a pole that conveys telephone and et cetera.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I have one question, unless there's none other. I have a question that I was asked earlier, and I don't think it got responded by staff. In the EIR and the staff report, there's a differing amount of trees that will be added. I saw one that said 17, another that said 20, and another one that said 21. Can you please clarify how many trees will be planted on the site?
21.
Okay, that's better. Thank you. We like trees. Okay. Any other questions from commissioners? Commissioner Lowe.
Yeah, I do have a quick question. I did ask staff on email also, but I wanted to clarify. So, given the timeline of the project, will they be required to do all electric and no natural gas?
Yeah, so this project will be reviewed by City Council in January, so they'll not be getting their entitlement before that. So they will be subject to the new 2019 building code, which only allows all electric.
Thank you.
Any other questions from commissioners? Okay, so at this point, we will open it up for public comment. Can I see a show of hands of how many people would like to participate? Okay, I don't see any hands going up, so I guess we will move on to our deliberation. So, and when we do get to the point where we have a motion, staff has recommended that all 5 points be read at the same time, and we will not be taking each resolution separately. So do we have any deliberation? Vice Chair Cox.
Yeah, I think this is a really good project. It provides much-needed housing opportunities for families, particularly because it has a 4-bedroom footprint. It's near Google and it's near a neighborhood park, so I mean, it should be a great place for people to be able to raise their kids. I echo what the staff says about improving the consistency of the zoning in the neighborhood. I personally think this North Sierra Vista area is one of Mountain View's greatest success stories. It's replacing what was kind of a decaying and blighted industrial district with a highly desirable area for modern housing. So I thank the applicant for bringing that forward. I'm happy to see that there's not going to be any displacement, and the loss of the warehouse is minor impact on the community. I had said to the applicant when I spoke to them earlier that I was very happy that without leaving aside, the special gatekeeper provision, it's really nice that they come to us with a compliant project and one that goes above and beyond, particularly in the area of open space. I like that there's only one additional peak trip in the evening and morning on traffic, and that the heritage trees, some of them will be preserved and the canopy will be significantly improved at maturity. So the only concern that I have, and it's not a concern on this project, it's just for the area in general, is that I did notice that the streets are really parked up a lot. And I'm just wondering, partly what that comes from, although since they're compliant with the parking requirements, I don't think that should impose any burden on them. So that's my comments, and I could make the motion, but I'll wait for commissioners.
Okay, would anyone else like to make a comment? Commissioner Corrales.
So I'd like to thank the applicant for coming for some for sale housing in Mountain View. We really appreciate that, and would appreciate your consideration of really replacing as many trees as you can, either non-heritage or not. And also, I think we'd like to see those that are native to California, so they're easy to care for and they will be sustained over time. So would appreciate that consideration from the applicant. And other than that, I think it is a excellent project for the area. I think the, rezoning makes a whole lot of sense because of, everything else is zoned the same around there. It makes no sense to leave that as an island, so to speak. So thank you very much for your efforts, and I look forward to making the recommendation to council.
Commissioner Haymeyer.
Like my fellow commissioners, I support the project. I think there are many elements, including the intensification of land use, which are quite desirable. While it's not directly germane to this, I do think that as the commission looks at the R3 standards in the future, and I talked about this with the applicant, the row homes and ownership opportunities are great, but I would like to better understand why the applicant and so many other applicants, when they're looking at this transformation, are going solely for row homes. I understand it's consistent with the land area, but I think there's an opportunity to perhaps provide more ownership opportunities or a variety of housing stock that, as much as a 4-bedroom home for a family is nice, I think it's beyond reach for many of the people who are looking for homes in this area and might not want that traditional row home. So great project. I'm excited about the pedestrian entryway in particular. I think that there's a lot of green open space that'll make it very complementary to the neighborhood.
Commissioner Lowe.
I echo my fellow commissioners' comments. I also really like the project. And during my meeting with the applicant, I made a couple of suggestions, including using more native plants, as well as trees, native trees, such as oaks. I also suggested to the applicants to try and increase this area of permeable surface to reduce stormwater runoff if possible, in particular in the 2 open space area, as well as the guest parking, the pavers areas. If we can make them permeable, that would be great. But overall, yeah, I think this is a nice project. I welcome it. Thank you.
Commissioner Cranston.
So I have to compliment the applicant. I don't think I've ever played a game or any other thing where somebody came this close to the rules on so many different categories. It's kind of amazing. So I do like the project. I like the fact that you stayed within the guidelines, but I will echo Commissioner Haymeyer's feedback. I am not disappointed by the project. I am disappointed that our zoning guidelines don't allow this to be more dense. I would agree that a couple of 4-bedroom units in the city of Mountain View is great, but it really feels like this location could have supported more. So as we look at the R3 zoning, I really do, this will be a test case in my mind as to what about the regulations prevented something like this from not being within the guidelines and still being more dense than it is right now. So, but you followed the rules, and I am fully in favor of approving projects that follow the rules. So I'm going to be supporting the project.
And again, I would like to echo the comments from the fellow commissioners. I laud the applicant for being creative and putting together a challenging situation of trying to accommodate different zonings, and how do you put that all together. I think you've done a great job of utilizing some unusual property zoning. And we also did talk about there's other properties down the street and around the corner. So I would encourage the applicant, once they get through this one, to keep your eyes open for other opportunities, because obviously you do a good job of following the rules, as some of the other commissioners did. So can I hear a motion from someone? And again, per staff, we're supposed to read all 5 and vote on all 5. Vice Chair.
Okay, I would like to make the motion, move the staff recommendation to recommend that the City Council approve and adopt an initial study, draft mitigated negative declaration, and mitigation monitoring and reporting program for the Sierra Vista Row House project in accordance with the California Environmental Quality Act, Exhibit 1 to the staff report. Number 2, adopt a resolution recommending that the City Council approve a general plan map amendment for the properties located at 851 and 853 Sierra Vista Avenue from the general industrial to medium density residential, to be read in title only, further reading waived. Exhibit 2 to the staff report. Number 3, adopt a resolution recommending that the City Council approve a zoning map amendment for the properties located at 851 and 853 Sierra Vista Avenue from the R32 SD, multifamily residential, and the MM40, general industrial districts, to the R32 multiple family residential district, to be read in title only. Further reading waived. Exhibit 3 to the staff report. 2 more points, please. Number 4, adopt a resolution recommending the City Council conditionally approve a planned unit development permit and development review permit to construct a 9-unit row house development and heritage tree removal permit to remove 6 heritage trees at 851 and 853 Sierra Vista Avenue, to be read in title only, further reading waived. Exhibit 4 to the staff report. And number 5, adopt a resolution recommending the City Council conditionally approve a tentative map for 9 residential condominium units located at 851 and 853 Sierra Vista Avenue, to be read in title only, further reading waived. Exhibit 5 to the staff report.
And do
Second.
I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Capriles. So if we can get our devices to work. And we are voting. And the motion passes unanimously with Commissioner Yin not here because of illness. Okay, so that concludes this portion of our meeting. The next portion of our meeting will take place in the plaza room next door. So we will take a minute to walk next door and proceed with the next portion of our meeting. Thank you.